Hi there. This video is going to be on weaving towels, and I am looking out my window. I live in the High Plains area where it's hot and windy, 100 degrees, and the wind's blowing. My garden doesn't look so great, but I'm kind of thinking about using, some of my garden colors in my towels. So I thought I would kind of walk you around my loom a little bit before I actually show you what I'm working on. So I have a loom that's called a Union 36, and it was designed, I think actually designed back in the early 1900s, primarily for weaving rugs, but you can weave lots of other things on it. So I have it warped. I could weave with rags, just as this is warped right now. And you can see, I think if I get down here, it's a sectional warping system. Really easy to warp. It's only 2 shafts. So, but a real workhorse. You can kind of see. Okay, so I'm gonna put my camera back on the stand here so I can show you what I've been working on. And it occurred to me that it had been quite a while since I'd done a video, so maybe I should do one. I've mostly just been weaving towels lately. So I have on my loom for the warp, I have 8/4 Maysville carpet warp. And I also use this in the weft in my towels and combine it with different things. So I kind of have kind of a striped pattern here. And then the yarn that I have in this bag is from Hobby. And I think they're located in Denmark. And this says this is 842. It's a little more loosely twisted, a little softer, certainly more soft than the carpet warp, but it's about the same size. I mean, it's a little bit larger than the 8/4, but works together. And I combine all kinds of different cotton yarns in my towels, and they all seem to work just fine together. So I ordered a bag of this, and you can get like a whole bunch of different color ranges. And so, of course, you never know exactly what it's going to look like until you get it. These are actually kind of brighter colors than I would normally use, but I decided, and it did have some more muted colors in here. I kind of tend towards the grays and the browns and the fall colors, but these towels are going to be more in the summer colors. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm not following any kind of set pattern. I just kind of weave with one color until I get tired of it, and then I change colors. And you'll notice that I use a temple for my towels, and I'm not fussy about how I change colors. So I'm just about ready. Yeah, I am ready to change colors. So I try and vary where I change colors, so that they're not all in the same place in the towel. I don't care if people can tell where I change colors, if it's a little bit bulkier. And I just cut off a little end and leave a larger end. And then switch colors. So I'm thinking kind of summery, bright colors. Not things I normally actually do a lot with, but they are pretty colors. So I take and overlap these about 1 inch, and I'll leave another little tail out, and then I continue to weave. I'm actually about at the point where I would advance. I have my selvage is double. I like using the temple because it keeps the weaving width consistent, and so I don't break threads at the selvage because I'm stretching them, because you can see it draws in quite a bit with this. And I'm gonna advance. Always have to remember to take the temple off. When you set up your temple, you try and set it up about the width the weaving is in the reed. One of the things I notice about my reed, some of the spaces, the dents, are stretched out, so as I weave, I've got some places where it's not consistent. So hopefully those will kind of even out in the wash. With this loom, I have to be careful. A lot of times when I let the warp break off, I have to actually get up and hold the warp beam, because it'll spring forward and it'll go too far forward, and then you have to go back and adjust everything. So, but I seem to have it at the point where it's behaving pretty well, but I'm always very careful to check and make sure that it didn't go too far. And then I'm ready again. And when I start with the temple, I usually come down about a ½ an inch, something like that. And then I'll weave for an inch or two and then move the temple. So I know a lot of people don't like to use a temple, but once you kind of get used to it, it works pretty good. And then I just, oh, and the other thing, these are, I think these are Gilmacra shuttles. They're, compared to other boat shuttles, they're not very expensive. They're made in Sweden. I use a paper straw for my bobbin, and I have a little bead in here so that it doesn't kind of get caught up, so it turns. A lot of times I have a bead here and a bead here, but it seems to work okay with just the one bead. And they have little rollers on the bottom. And I wasn't sure about these, but I just love these shuttles. They're about my favorite. They're pretty narrow. I wish they actually made them just a little bit wider so I could have more yarn on the bobbin. But the Union has such a wide shuttle race. And they just kind of glide through there. So all I'm doing is just varying colors at will. Now if I wanted to, I could put multiple throws in one shed if I wanted to vary the texture. Oh, and one thing I don't think you can see in my video, but I have a rope tied around my beater here so it doesn't go all the way back, so I don't have to reach so far forward, because the Union has a huge space here, which is great for rugs, but I don't really want to reach that far for my towels. A lot of people stand up and weave using the Union, but I'm tall and it just is incredibly uncomfortable for me, so I've figured out a way to sit and be comfortable, and so that's what I do. And as I said, this warp is exactly like I would warp for a rug if I wanted to have, a warp in every other dent. Sometimes I double them and change the pattern there, but so if I wanted to, I could come in here and start weaving with rags. And I'm thinking, as I get towards the end of the warp, I want to make some table runners, and I think this is going to be too wide for a table runner with rags, so I may drop maybe that much of the outside warp and make some table runners, or not. So, and so summer colored towels. This batch, I'm getting tired of using this color, so I'll probably go back to my more favorite browns and rusts and reds for fall colors, since we're almost to the middle of August. All right.